Today on Athletic Conceptual Training Podcast, we're stepping into the world where compassion meets creativity. My guest, Evvy Carlstrom, has built a career that blurs the line between heart and hustle. From performing Off-Broadway to leading marketing and client experiences at TruVet Emergency and Specialty. They started in animal care at just 8 years old and somehow managed to turn a lifelong love for pets and people into a professional blueprint that's reshaping what modern veterinary medicine looks like. We'll talk about what it means to build a brand inside an emergency hospital, the power of storytelling in medicine, and how Evvy uses their background in theater to bring humanity back into high-stress environments. Expect a mix of truth, humor, and maybe a little controversy, because that's what real conversations in this field deserve. Evvy, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Thrilled to be here.
I know. It took too long for us to link schedules and get all the time to sit down with each other, but I'm really excited. Ladies and gentlemen, Evvy is a very enthusiastic, knowledgeable, and driven marketing director. Let me tell you, I have been so impressed by their skills and their ability to link people. It is a skill nowadays. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. That's very kind. I appreciate it. Where shall we start?
Yeah, so we're just going to jump right in. You live both worlds, musical theater and veterinary care. What's one lesson from the stage that translates surprisingly well to the hospital floor?
I think the number one thing that has helped me in both careers is that energy is everything. Working in emergency, it's a very high stress, high tension environment where people come in with their pets in dire straits, needing immediate assistance. And the way that you respond to them informs everything of how that experience is going to go. So from the front desk to the technicians to, the doctors, if you respond to that stress with stress, it's going to elevate that stress. If you respond to it with openness, compassion, and calmness, it's going to go a lot smoother because that client feels that they are listened to. They're having their thoughts listened to and their energy matched, not in a leveling up way, but in a, I'm meeting you where you're at and we're going to bring it back down however we need to so that you feel taken care of. So often we get those clients or those patients that really need that immediate assistance. And for them, it's a panic moment. And how we respond informs everything in that. So if we respond with that calmness, with that empathy, with that, hey, we're going to slow it down and ask some questions, but we're not diminishing the stress. We're just being the calm within the storm.
I love that. And what a perfect way to show that with the walk in there. I love how you didn't skip a beat.
You can't. That's live performance, right? And that's another thing. Live theater, there are no retakes. The audience is right there with you. So in emergency care, there are no retakes. You just have to go with your first shot and you go with it. So make a good first impression and you'll go far.
Sure. Really quick, I know this isn't one of the questions. I love your TruVet hoodie. And I just wanted to point this out that Evvy came up with the idea for this and got the whole hospital hoodies for Tech Week, and or Staff Appreciation Week. And I love mine. So I just wanted to shout out TruVet, shout out that hoodie, and shout out your idea.
Thank you. No, I'm super happy with the hoodies, and I like that aside because I've definitely been getting a lot of commentary from other employees that have come up and gone, I wore my hoodie to school and I had all these people stopping me left and right. I brought my dog to TruVet. I brought my cat to TruVet. So it really is, it's walking advertisement, and it's really something that people want to wear, and it's cozy. So it was a win all around.
Great idea. Jumping back into the questions, you started volunteering at 8 years old. What did that early exposure to animal care teach you that formal training could never?
It really taught me the balance between compassion and empathy and the scientific side of things. So, starting from the young age that I did, it's hard as a kid to see animals suffering or animals in pain. And I had a bleeding heart as a kid. I absolutely could not understand the injustice of it all, and as I as I spent my time volunteering and learning more about it, that empathy only grew, not just for the animals, but for the people that need to surrender their animals or, can't afford that medical care that would mean they could keep their pets, so they surrender them. Growing that connection of, whatever you feel about injustice, that pet and that person both deserve empathy. So that's one of those things that I picked up really young, just seeing so many different cases, either of neglect or, strays being brought in that have been abused off the street. The end all be all concern should always be that that pet gets care. Doesn't matter what the history is behind that, just that there's care.
Love that.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest probably.
Yeah, and I think we're working in the right hospital for that, because that exudes from person to person in the hospital. There's so much care.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Between client communication and patient care and creativity, what fuels you most day to day?
Ooh, I think that honestly, I love client communication. I'm looking at the question as we go. I love client communication. I love patient care. I love creativity. The number one thing that's always going to get me is that my team is happy.
Yeah.
So what my favorite experience so far, honestly, was putting together Staff Appreciation Week this year. I felt like, Santa Claus. I wasn't a kid on Christmas. I was Santa Claus. And I was setting up all the gifts, and I was just so excited for everyone to see it. And I felt like this magical being, and I got to run away for a week and go on vacation while everyone else enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But seeing the impact that morale boosting has on my team, knowing that they are appreciated and getting to be part of that, and not only part of that, but like if I have one contribution, it's going to be, that everyone knows they are appreciated. But to kind of parry on that, I absolutely love having client communications, because one of my favorite things to hear is from front desk to tech to doctors, everyone is so kind. Everyone is so friendly. And that I'm really proud of the environment that we've built here that rides on that, and that every single person here is motivated to share that goal of, when we meet our clients, they're not ever going to meet the worst version of us. We could have a horrible day aside, and can tell you without a doubt, everyone here knows how to turn it on, when they need to, and just be that pleasant experience for people. It's great.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's one of the things that I love about working at TruVet as well. For someone outside of the field, what's the most misunderstood part of working in specialty and emergency medicine?
That an empty lobby means an empty hospital. I think that we do a really good job of keeping things calm here on the surface. And there's often probably a misconception that that means there's not a ton going on behind those treatment room doors.
Yeah.
And I think that would be the number one thing I'd encourage people to remember is A, if there aren't many bodies racing towards you and your pet, that's actually a good thing. It is a very good thing to get to wait. We understand, honestly, that emergency wait times are frustrating. It's called an emergency room. What do you mean I have to wait? It's often like a human emergency room where we do triage based off of severity. And you're not being ignored. You're not being overpassed. It's prioritization of symptoms, of presentation. And then, even if you're the only person in the lobby, there may be someone in the back having to say goodbye to their pet. So I think just asking for that not only understanding, but empathy and compassion for others.
Mm,
That having a long wait time a lot of the times actually means a better outcome. And that's not always true, right?
yeah,
We see, critical patients come back from the brink of death every day. But those are the ones that are getting that immediate attention.
yeah.
So I don't think that's too controversial to say, but there
No,
often is this misconception that in emergency, like because it's called emergency, everything that comes through the door is going to be seen so quickly. And it's just not physically possible. We have to have some semblance of system.
yeah. A great point that you hit on. And for an example, the other day I was checking in a patient and the lobby was empty, but in the back we had lots going on. And what that person didn't see was I was juggling actually a couple different things, including getting them checked in. And the client to me said, "Oh, slow night." I just laughed and said, "Oh no, we're just, taking care of patients in the back and things like that. We closed on our lobby
Yeah.
so that we can focus on taking care of the patients and things like that." And I just, I just left it at that because they didn't really understand. But I
Yeah.
think that's a really, really insightful point that you made.
Yeah. I always respond. It's always with kindness. It's always with a smile. But oh, trust me, there's plenty going on behind closed doors, and that's just the way we like it. Is that
Yeah,
you don't need to see the chaos,
yeah,
because for us it isn't chaos. It's a Tuesday.
right, right. How does TruVet's team culture help staff handle the intensity and emotional load of emergency cases?
I will say it again, energy is everything.
Hmm.
This team really knows how to operate on a frequency that connects with one another. When one of us is struggling, there is support from others. When one person wins, we all win. And so when there's those really hectic scenarios where, let's say, it's all hands on deck, it
Hmm.
is just so inspiring to see the communication amongst team members that are stabilizing a pet, and they're, communicating every step of the way. I need this. I've got this. And,
Hmm.
that'll lead me to one of our future questions. And, my thoughts on certain connections between industries, but it's so cool to see everyone play their part, and they all know what that part is supposed to be. Um, and there's a mutual motivation for contributing to that result.
Yeah.
And I think that goal is how we just all keep a level mind. We regroup after major things happen. We debrief if there's a situation where we've had to do CPR, there's a debrief afterwards, whether it goes
Hmm.
positively or badly.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I'm taking a look at the question again. The intensity and emotional load of emergency cases. We know how to keep it light here. And that's not
Yeah.
to diminish or say that it's any less serious. It's a very serious job, but we've got a
Hmm.
great crew of people that know how to keep the levity, that don't let it get heavy on them, because the second you let it get heavy on you, it's over. It's
Yeah.
over. And it's so hard to pull back from that once you have been squashed or feel crushed for the day by one hard case.
Yeah.
So I think we really rally as a team to make sure that even in those tough moments, not in a toxic positivity way, that's never welcome, but just as a reminder of like, we've got this and we
Yeah.
are capable and it will get better.
Well, as someone working on the floor, I really um, make it a point to support whenever there's chaos. I try to take a big picture stance and
Yeah.
say, okay, what does each person need in order to do their job? So
Yep.
whether it's um, dipping into the inpatient nurse, helping them with their treatments, organizing the flow, coming in and helping and getting some of these triages in so that we can knock out treatments and get people seen as as fast and efficient as we can. And what you're speaking to is something that that we exude on at TruVet, and communicating with you if I have any needs for client communication and I can't get to them. Just really utilizing all of the resources that are available. And you're right, each person knows how to play their role so well that it's just a simple communication and then we can flow. Yeah, I really love that.
Yeah, it's a really great, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. You've built TruVet's marketing department from scratch. What were the first few bricks you laid to establish its identity?
It's been a slow moving process. So I started probably last April or
Mm-hmm.
May or so, and I was still fully on the reception staff. So I was just
Mm-hmm.
taking a few moments here and there, trying to get some social media out there. And I had a helpful guide map that Julie and I put together
Mm-hmm.
that she had kind of made of, here's where you could take things. And so a lot of it started with what are pet friendly areas that you can take your dog or cat, to cafes or breweries if you so choose.
Yeah.
Where can you find, the best area to take your dog, or any behind the scenes moments. That's really what I found people love the most, is anything of our
Yeah.
staff with pets, which is difficult to get because it's emergency.
Yeah.
But the first thing that I wanted to establish, we have a very professional environment here, and I wanted to be able to marry professionalism with levity.
Mm.
So remind our followers that what is the phrasing I'm looking for? Remind our followers that we're human too,
Yeah.
but that there is joy in the work that we do.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to get down on, like, we're emergency. Shouldn't we be serious all the time? And the answer is yes, we should take every single case seriously. Every single pet, every single client, every single thing should be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
What we're presenting to social media is, who are we as people? And we're not robots. You're not going to come to TruVet and be met with blank-faced bullies who don't like working where they work. You're going to meet those happy people that you see. You're going to see those smiles.
Yeah.
So that was what I really wanted to get out there first, was these are some of the happiest professionals I've ever seen and some of the best workers I've ever seen. So you combine those two, golden.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I guess this does lead, that question or that answer leads into the next question, is how do you balance storytelling and sensitivity when marketing a hospital that deals with life and death moments kind of take the precedence? And you just alluded to that. It's just the joy that people have with working, and then the professionalism. I also wanted to add in, because everything you're saying, it just makes me think about, being there. And some of the best times I have is talking to clients and them leaving feeling supported, and that, like, wow, I talked to a real person. I've, like, on a real level, in a real way. It wasn't just like, I just want to take your money type of thing, which seems to be, sometimes the narrative. But when they leave, more people, I feel like when they leave TruVet, they're like, wow, I was taken care of.
Yeah, we have clients that remember technicians by name, that specifically will ask when a certain doctor is working, which we can't give out, of course, because that's confidential. Right. But and they remember us because of that kindness. And we're talking some of the worst cases I've ever seen. These clients are writing us cards, sending gifts, like they're like thanking us for our humanity. And I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot, is there's, of course, professionalism, but where's the compassion behind that professionalism? Where's the motivation? We show that. We wear our hearts on our sleeve here. And I think that at least I hope it shows with the marketing that we do, where I'm never likely going to cover more sad cases unless they have a good result. We can allude to things like pet grief, things like that, but we want to remind people that our focus is saving animals, and saving animals is a very rewarding and positive experience. And it doesn't always go that way, of course, which is always heartbreaking, but it's it's building hope. In all honesty, it's building hope. And that's more for us than it is for them. Celebrating any small win is a morale booster.
Yeah.
And that I think, presenting that to followers, presenting that to potential clients, reminds them that, of course, we take our jobs seriously. It's why we're so happy, because we're seeing these success stories. And there's also something to be said, of course, for depression rates, things like that. So in burnout, fatigue, compassion burnout, there's all of those things are in existence. So none of that is ever to erase those very real experiences.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're going to focus on. We're not going to focus on how hard are you working to burn yourself out. We're going to focus on how do you feel on a day-to-day basis? And if I can capture even a glimpse of that, seeing you happy with a pet, that is what I want you to focus on for yourself in your journey as, as a technician, as a doctor, is those moments. Take those home. Take those home with you. Because so often, so many of us bring home the sad cases, and we don't get pictures of those, but they are ingrained in our brains.
Yeah.
I want people to have something better to put in their brain.
If you had to define exceptional client care in one sentence, what would it sound like at TruVet?
From the moment you walk in this door to the moment that you walk out, you have spoken with human beings whose only motivation is to see your pet better.
I love that. Great job. Let's talk about your theater experience a little bit and get to know you more. Most people don't expect a marketing director to also teach voice lessons. How does that duality play into your lead?
So this one is a little trickier because it's talking about me. So now, of course, it's embarrassing. My biggest emphasis with my students, I teach voice lessons, singing or public speaking, to pretty much all ages. So you could be as early as preschool, or you could be 90. If you want to learn how to sing, you come to me and we'll get you set. Okay. My biggest thing is confidence and building confidence, granting yourself permission to make noise, whether that noise is good or bad. And that each person has a unique story to tell. Each person has a unique voice. And when that comes to the creative side of marketing, I'm a very loud personality, and I love encouraging others to be their loudest selves, as it were. Beyond that, having to look at the question to think about it. How does the duality play in how you lead? There's creativity in everything I do. And that directly translates from theater and voice to me. What alternative way of thinking can I give this to spin it so that it's eye-catching or that it's fun? And how can I use my voice? How can I use my voice that I encourage others, with? Build your confidence. How can I use mine to uplift and empower others? So that, I think that's the most basic connection I can give, because it's a little bit difficult when it's teaching voice versus marketing. We could address more the creative side of things, where I'm able to look at that alternative way of thinking and say, okay, here's a really cool way that this will be amplified on our platform. Finding our unique story and our unique voice, as it were.
Well, I don't know if you are going to ask, I was going to ask this, or if this happens to you often when people learn that you're a singer. If you could do a quick little tune for TruVet, what would that sound like?
Oh, no. And I bet that's not unfamiliar at all, right? Everyone does that. You get clammy. Well, what do you want to hear? There's plenty.
A little TruVet.
Oh God, I'll warble a little tune. A little TruVet.
There it is.
That's it. Oh man, that made me sweat. Oh.
um, Performance requires presence. How do you bring that sense of presence to veterinary communication or client service training?
I said it once, I'll say it again. Energy, energy, energy. I have been
Energy.
asked so many times, are you a robot? When I
Yeah.
answer the phone, because I mean, yes, my voice is on one of the phone lines, letting you know that your voice is being recorded.
Yeah.
But beyond that, when I answer the phone, it's the exact same script each time.
Hmm.
It's my bright, chirpy voice. I used to use a
Hmm.
Barbie voice. I no longer do that.
Okay.
But that putting that energy forward of just, I'm here to help. I'm here
Yeah.
to help. I'm here to assist. How
Hmm.
can I help you? It's yes and energy at all times. And that's something that you learn in improv. I've never
Hmm.
taken a ton of improv, but the number one rule is yes and. You don't say, no, you can't do that.
Hmm.
Even if it's something you can't help them with over the phone, you say, yes, I totally understand what you're going through. I can help you with this.
Yeah.
You offer them what you can help them with first before ever offering them a negative.
Yeah.
Um, yes, and I'm looking at it again. Confidence is another thing where even in those moments where I am feeling rattled or I am feeling overwhelmed, there's a really difficult case that is really emotional. I need to go talk to that client. The best thing I can do is put forth my authentic self,
Yeah.
honestly. Be there for them, offer them a hug if they need that. I think there's a misconception when we talk about bringing performance skills into veterinary medicine that there's inauthenticity involved or that you're fake.
Yeah.
Um, Quite the opposite. I think it empowers you so much more to be that much more human because you connect on that level that understands what that person is going through, that understands that emotional state, and
Mm.
can sort of settle into, where do I need to be? Do I need to be a strength pillar right now? Do I just need to be someone that you can cry with? Do I need to be that shoulder that you can cry on? Or, in some of those more volatile cases where it's customer service, right? And we see
Right.
it where if someone's upset, the easiest person to take it out on can sometimes be the receptionist. And how do you respond to that? Do you respond
Right.
to that with, this is my fault, or I'm going to get upset with this client? Or do you recognize they are there with you on the worst day of their life? And
Mm.
you can put just a little bit more of your energy into making sure you are not a contributing factor to that day getting worse.
Yeah. Well, let me
Very easy to do that.
well, let me ask you, has there ever been a moment where theater quite literally saved the day in the veterinary setting?
I would say almost every time that we have a stat or a critical case that comes through the door,
Okay.
it's like watching a well choreographed musical number, quite frankly, because
Yeah.
every person steps into place. They know where they need to be, what they need to do. It's what I alluded to earlier with every player knows their part. And whether we're improving, we're ad-libbing, we're going off of, I've got nothing but a straw and some tape, or I've got my whole setup, everyone knows how to proceed there and knows what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So when you get that call of, I need a stat right now, I need someone outside to come get this pet, you can
Yeah.
feel that energy shift. And never does that energy shift into one of panic. I
Mm.
have only ever felt that energy shift into one of, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Be ready. Let's get prepped. Everyone at your places. Um, and how you process that energy, energy, energy. If you let your energy get up, it impacts those around you. And so if you can keep your own energy level, that's going to save the day every time. Because if you respond with a level head, that's when you have a team that communicates and flows.
Yeah.
The minute one person, I keep having like movie scenes. I'm freaking out, man. Like the minute someone does
Yeah.
that, we've got to take it down a second. And I don't have anything to do with these treatments. I'm watching all the
Hmm.
players run around, or I'm helping grab towels, or I'm grabbing whatever we need to.
Hmm.
But I think that every day is quite literally theater,
Yeah.
because it's you get your cue and you are at your places. You're ready to go. And what are the actions you have to take? And we've all rehearsed them many, many times.
Well, this is where I have to plug my business. You have
It's
to
like
act.
playing on a sports team.
Yeah, yeah, and that's act. That's really the acronym Athletic Conceptual Training. It's about not just conceptualizing things; it's acting accordingly. So, anyway, not here for that.
I love it. It's a connection there. It works so well.
Let's get your take on a few controversial questions.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do with veterinary medicine. Bit out of order. Some say social media in vet med glamorizes burnout. True or false from your experience?
From what I'm trying to do, I will never glamorize burnout. I think that is really common within the industry and within veterinary marketing. Is it there's sort of an erasure of how difficult things can be. But I am seeing an uptick in, and this is as it should be, an uptick in a lot of platforms using their voice to sort of state their opinion on burnout and say, like, if you need resources, we've got Not One More Vet, we've got all these different organizations that really promote self-care, promote awareness.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it should be. I do believe that there's room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, because I think a lot of practices can focus on, look how hardworking our staff is, without acknowledging how difficult of an environment it is to work in. And that's an area I can likely improve more on as well, giving a little bit of an insight, probably blog posts or blog form material of what the mental health impacts are of this industry on its professionals. But I think for the most part, when we're marketing, as veterinary medicine professionals, we can't emphasize the burnout.
Yeah.
Because that defeats the purpose. It's almost the opposite of a morale booster.
Yeah.
When you have a constant reminder of how burnt out you are, how are you going to feel anything but burnt out? And that's not to diminish or erase it. It shouldn't be. It should be talked about and it should be brought up. But there's got to be a balance. There has to be a balance of acknowledging the impact, the weightiness, the heaviness, while also acknowledging, we are here for a reason. We like doing what we do.
Yeah, I think that Dr. Kruger, there's a clip that just recently released, and Dr. Kruger touched on burnout. And one of the things that she said was, when you feel burnt out, it's okay, and always, it's also an opportunity to reset. So leaning into that feeling and not running from it, and understanding that maybe you don't have to redo everything. You just have to reset your priorities. And I thought that was really insightful. Because often we think that, when burnout's here, we have to do this drastic measure, when really we just have to acknowledge it and then find our outlets and reset and things like that. So I really feel like, at least from my platform, is acknowledging it, acknowledging that it's there, not running from it, but then at the same time, using it as an opportunity. There was also another clip that I released with Amelia Knight, and she also said, alluded to burnout being an opportunity to open the door and open the window for other opportunities. And that for me, that was the birth of ACT. So
I love that.
I think that with everything, Bill, but how we deal with the burnout and how we view it, I think it's been this scary phrase and term and idea, but really I think we need to acknowledge it, embrace it, and allow it to, it's our body saying, okay, let's pivot, let's reset, let's let's adjust, but not let's quit what we're doing and reshape everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an opportunity to reassess. I absolutely agree. Because and that's a universal concept, right? I don't think that that's
Right.
just exclusive to our industry. I think that's a really good thing for anyone to hear is, being burnt out doesn't mean the whole thing is bad. Being burnt out
Right.
means that something's not working.
Right.
Um, and when you take that step back to reassess, like I've been going through this recently, not just here, but in life in general, feeling burnt out and needing
Mm-hmm.
to fix my perspective. Am I sleeping
Mm-hmm.
enough? Am I drinking enough water? Am I talking to my therapist honestly enough? Am
Yeah.
I, going outside and getting vitamin D? And it's not as simple as all those small things, but
Right.
all of those things combined might make a little bit of a difference.
Sure.
And so just taking that opportunity of acknowledging, as you said, acknowledge the emotion as it comes, and then reassess what it is your body needs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for jumping into that controversial question.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's go down to legacy and vision. And we're looking forward. What's next for TruVet's growth, especially with your role at the helm of marketing?
From my scope, I'm our marketing director. That's, about as far as it can go for me until and unless we start expanding and I can get some staff or on
Yeah.
my department, which would be
Yeah.
amazing. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that eventually, it would be wonderful if we had, and I'm just speaking specifically for marketing, it would be awesome if we had one or two extra people
Hmm.
that could do content creation with me, that we could really
Hmm.
start working on more of these campaigns and have a more well-rounded, because being a jack of all trades is very
Hmm.
fun, but it also gets
Yeah.
very difficult very fast when you're balancing all of the
Yeah.
different facets. So that would be my goal for the future of the department. I know that TruVet, we're looking to expand as always. We've got our cardiologist joining us next year, which we're very excited
Yeah.
about. We're
Yeah.
looking for specialists, actively seeking an oncologist. So I know that within the next few years, the big plan is always expanding and serving
Yeah.
more of the community. So I don't know whether that is opening a separate location elsewhere. I don't think so. I think it's just getting another building so we have more space.
Sure.
But when it comes to our branding or anything like that, just expect to see more of us, where I want to hear more from people of the educational topics they'd like to hear about, getting long form blog posts ready for you, doing more
Mm-hmm.
video content creation,
Mm-hmm.
really trying to expand in those areas and go to more conferences like we did this year.
Yeah.
ACVIM forum in Kentucky was a really phenomenal, like, dip in the waters. IVEX in San Diego was even
Yeah.
greater, fantastic success. So really just building off of those, where the first conference I connected maybe with about 50 veterinary professionals. IVEX I connected with about 130. So I more
Yeah.
than doubled who I was talking to. So
Love that.
my goal is always going to be more people.
Yeah. Well, I'll put my bid in for first up if you need staff members.
Oh yeah. It's you. I got Jen. It's you. We're good.
If you could redefine one part of how the public sees veterinary professionals, what would you change?
There's some really obvious answers here for me, and the one is, we're not here to take your money.
Yeah.
And that really is so difficult to navigate because, of course, we are not a financial institution. We are working on areas to be more accessible, but that's the really unfortunate part about veterinary medicine, and specifically emergency veterinary medicine, is it isn't the most accessible industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just reminding people that we really are here to care for your animal, and not a single person realistically, like, sees that money in their pockets. Most of us here are hourly workers and do this because we have a passion for animals.
Yep.
And if we could, we absolutely would provide free services. And
Yeah.
that's almost kind of leaning more on your controversial corners, but I don't mean it as such. It really is
Mm-hmm.
just an emphasis of, we do hear it occasionally, you know, why are things so expensive? We don't
Mm-hmm.
set the costs. We don't set the
Yeah.
costs, and we can't control them. So just remembering that, we are people when we're presenting estimates, when we're letting you know about pricing, and B, not a single person is in this industry for the money.
Sure.
Not a
Man,
single person. They are
say
in
that
this
again.
industry for the animals.
Hmm. So true. Last question. Finally, what would you tell that 8-year-old volunteer version of yourself about where you've ended up?
I would say keep up the good work. I spent most of my professional career trying to find a balance between animal care and theater, and I
Mm-hmm.
finally found it. And I grew up with very supportive family, but a lot of dubiousness. You know, how do you do both? How do you find a career in both when theater and, you know, music both require so much energy?
Yeah.
And then you get the animal care aspect of things, that requires an entire lifetime of energy and building a career.
Yeah.
So don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep playing with kittens and puppies because it will go somewhere.
Yeah.
And be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah. Well, Evvy, thank you for giving us a little peek into your career, into your transition from theater into marketing. You are truly doing an amazing job. And TruVet is making waves with you at the helm at marketing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on. It's super exciting. I can't wait to cringe watching this back at myself, as I do every time. But thank you for the work that you're doing to bring some light to these more, I won't say uncovered, but we don't talk about them enough topics. And even from my little scope in the marketing corner, there are, you know, there's definitely information to be had and opinions to be given. So thank you for starting these conversations and having me on.
Of course, anytime. And come back.
Oh, yes. Until next time.
Until next time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Athletic Conceptual Training Podcast, where we blend athletics and veterinary medicine. Please don't forget to go visit the ACT store and get your merch. If you go on the website, you'll see all of TruVet's branding. They're located in Petaluma, California. And if you're in that area, you know where they are. They're doing amazing work. And we really believe and trust in the services and care that Dr. Freya Kruger has led. Thank you guys and have a great day.